Function with Purpose podcast. All things health, wellness, fitness, and education through the physical therapy perspective. I am Dr. Amy Bullock, owner and founder of Fortress Physical Therapy. Fortress PT is here to serve the Charlotte metro area by highlighting the importance of how and why physical therapy should be a part of your health and wellness lifestyle. Here we go. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of the Function with Purpose podcast. Dr. Amy with you again today. Thanks for joining in. This topic is kind of fun and that I want to talk to you about today. A little bit more, still continuing with kind of like exercising and training and digging deeper on where someone is on that training spectrum. So today's topic, what is training age? So have you ever even thought about this? Training age, what does it even mean? I remember growing up, when I was playing basketball in 7th grade. I remember 7th and 8th grade was when we started playing for the middle school. And one of my friend's cousins came up to me and he's like, yeah, Amy, you need to start lifting weights. Like, it's super important to start lifting weights and building muscle. So I literally started lifting weights when I was in 7th grade. And, I'm in my mid-30s. So, 7th grade, how old are you? Let's see, I was about like 13, 14. So, 13, about over 20 years of lifting weights. But that doesn't really coincide with training age. So training age it doesn't mean how many years you've been exercising per se. Instead of, you want to think of training age, or it has been proposed that training age is more of the invested time you have really truly put forth into digging deeper into your exercise and training for longevity, sport, fitness, health, wellness, etc. So there's kind of like these 3 categories. So the first category that you might suspect is the rookie age. So the rookie age of starting this process of getting into training is usually that 0 to 3 year mark of training, true training experience. So kind of some things that fall into that is you're in your rookie year, right? Think of someone, going into their rookie season as a basketball player, playing in the NBA or the WNBA. You're very new to that experience. So as far as rookie age training category, the main focus is focusing on movement quality and building volume over time, building that solid, fundamental, foundational movement patterns, right? Like, you grow up, when you're birthed, you're an infant, then you become a child, then an adolescent, and then a teenager, and then a young adult, then adult, and then like the spectrum starts, or the aging process starts to flip, right? It's like we're born an infant, we become an adult, and essentially we go back to that infancy stage, right? So that coincides with kind of like training age when you think about it. So this rookie age is that 0 to 3 years of training or exercise experience. So focusing on solid quality foundation of movement, understanding some aspects of movements that you need to work on, some movement patterns. Maybe it's squat depth, maybe it's hinging as if you're bending over and picking up something from the ground, maybe it's reaching or pressing something over your head, right? So you're really starting to hone in on some areas that you need to spend some time on and refining that. Then we move on to the next stage, and you may guess this as well, the intermediate age, the intermediate training age period. And this is usually that experience of that 3 to 8 years. So, you're already past that quote unquote rookie age, and now you're getting into, okay, focusing on even more movement quality and volume, but then you add a little bit more variety. You're refining, and you're really chiseling in on the foundation of the movement patterns, focusing on some good control of movement. So think of this. You're back squatting. You have the barbell on your back, and you're performing a squat. Initially, in the rookie age realm, you might feel or experience your knees kind of caving inwards or knock knees. That's one thing that we don't want, right? But then as we get into the intermediate age, that's one particular area that you have recognized while you were in that initial 0 to 3 years of training experience. And then you're kind of getting into this intermediate stage that you're refining the prevention of those knees caving inwards, because that's just the vulnerable position that you don't want to be in. So you're refining that foundational squatting pattern and creating more intensity through that movement pattern. So maybe you're working on a lot more single leg movement that require bending of the knee and bending of the hip, and refining that movement pattern. So slowing things down even more and getting a lot of varied intensity into that pattern. So that intermediate age is usually between that 3 and 8 year mark. So you're constantly revisiting, refining foundational movement patterns, and essentially kind of bridging those cracks in the foundation and making those cracks more approximated, and in really honing in on good quality of movement, slowing things down so you can build strength through that pattern. So then we move on to the third stage. Stay with me here, people. Stay with me. That third stage, or that veteran stage, right? I think of, Michael Jordan's been in the game of basketball for a long time. He's retired 3 times, and, he was a veteran. I think he was just a veteran sooner rather than later. So this veteran training age is usually 8 years and plus beyond, right? You're still kind of focusing on movement quality, increased volume and intensity. You're still a little bit tapping into refining those foundational movements in the movement or motor control quality. But now you start tapping in more and more to exploring new different types of exercises, new goals, right? Because you really solidified this strong foundation. Your squat pattern is the strongest it has been in the past 8 years. Your deadlift or hinging pattern, as if you were picking up something off of the floor, has been flawless. Your ability to overhead press something that's super heavy without one shoulder feeling off, or one shoulder feeling uneven, or experiencing a tweak in the elbow as you're pressing that heavy weight overhead. So maybe perhaps in the CrossFit perspective, this is the point where, okay, I honestly feel pretty good, and I think I feel confident enough that I'm going to explore a pretty difficult movement, i.e. the ring muscle up. a very, very difficult gymnastics movement to perform. Or even the bar muscle up, right? It requires a lot of muscle mind connection, a lot of absolute raw strength, and something that you have literally built up to from your rookie age to the veteran age. So these three categories help a little bit create that not start stop area or line or dotted line, but it helps us, especially as coaches and even physical therapists, that you know we need to constantly revisit foundational movement patterns, because there's always something that's going to be a little bit out of place. So as far as training age goes, from a personal perspective, uh, I'm not sponsored by them, but I kind of jumped on the functional bodybuilding realm, and I still get my conditioning aspect. I still get aspects of CrossFit type movements or conditioning, as well as some gymnastics and overall body weight movements. And I have definitely found that these concepts and principles have helped show me and open my eyes to that I can really keep myself resilient to injury and improve my joint health, my movement quality, my absolute strength, my aerobic capacity, experiencing less burnout. And also I'm starting to get into that latter portion of that intermediate training age. I'm about 4 years in, so that kind of dumps me in that middle category that I'm starting to a little bit explore some like ring muscle ups and bar muscle ups, some things that I don't really have a true investment in, but it's kind of fun to be like, okay, let me just see what and if I can do this, and how does that make me feel? Like, it makes me feel confident to try something new and to really hone in and own a position. So, taking these principles and categories of progression over the past 3.5, 4 years within my own health and fitness journey has just been such an eye opener. So, training age, where do you fall on this category spectrum? Are you in that rookie age where you're starting to realize, like, okay, I want to start digging in a little bit more into building a better solid foundation of movement patterns, squat, pressing, deadlifting, hinging, maybe single leg work, figuring out what I need to spend a little bit more attention on. And then maybe you're already in that intermediate age bracket, in that 3 to 5 year mark, but still you need maybe some guidance on refining foundational movements and really slowing down movement patterns. Or perhaps you're a veteran. Maybe you're a Michael Jordan, right? And you want to explore new different movements, new single leg work, etc. So training age is kind of cool. Maybe perhaps in a future episode, what's the difference between training and exercise? Because there is a difference. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, if you want to dig in a little bit deeper to really understand how your body moves, which then in turn will help eventually improve your joint health, movement quality, your strength, your aerobic endurance, experience less burnout, getting away from that injury spectrum, then reach out. Definitely reach out to me. I would love to help out as much as I can. And if you're in the South Charlotte or Charlotte, North Carolina area, and you're in need of some physical therapy, or just want to get an assessment done on movement, we can certainly help you with that. That's a wrap for today's episode, Function with Purpose podcast. For more information on this episode, please check out the show notes within your podcast app. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, or drop your comments and questions below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for the listen. Pursuit, precision, purpose.